2027 election plot. And it seems to be looking like, while all of this drama coming out, we had election just a few years ago, and now 2027, we're about 910 days away. It seems to be like election is just next year. Do you, but anyway, what do you think about all of this? Recently, the presidential person of the Labour Party have been traveling here and there, all of this, saying that they were discussing national issues. He went to visit Obasanjo. He went to visit the former military president, Babangida, and all of this opposition parties struggling for realignment. How will you comment on this?
Well, it is not surprising that politicians are at it again. And that's because a lot of us are still looking at 2027 as 2 years from now. It is actually not 2 years from now. The Nigerian election has 3 circles. Excuse me. The post-election circle, the election itself, the election, pre-election circle window, the election itself, then the post-election window. Now, the pre-election window starts from next year, which has to do with sale of nomination forms, then party primaries and all of that. Then remember that latest November next year, all political parties would have been required to submit their nominated candidates. And the election is actually around March and April, depending on the arrangement of INEC, but it will never go beyond April. So it is normal and expected.
INEC has said February 20th, actually.
Okay, so it is normal and expected if you see the movements and the realignments here and there. It means that 2025 is the only realistic year they have to begin to make the necessary, movements across the nation. And the movements you are seeing, the visitations here and there, are normal and necessary. These are key regional players, who have a command of respect, from across the various regions. And it is normal that politicians will naturally visit them to get their buy-in or their support. My assumption is that they go to them for 2 reasons. First, to help them to shore up their war chest, their financial war chest. Second, to help them wield their influence within the parties. At the party level, they may have influence, at the party level. They have influence. They can pull the plug, But beyond the party, I don't necessarily see their level of influence, because I still don't, apart from President Buhari, I don't see any of them that has a strong grassroots support. But that's a serious thing. That's very serious. For instance, IBB. What is the influence of IBB in national politics, for instance? Okay. He has never contested an election before, and so it is difficult to even assess or measure his level of influence. And
you think you don't know his influence in Niger State or even the North in general?
Remember that in the North, election is largely based on grassroots followership. So what is his level of influence, So these are some of the things we'll look at, and these are some of the questions we also want to ask the so-called the gladiators who have been jostling around the country, meeting this person. So like I said earlier, my assumption is that first, it is to help them win the party ticket, because at the party level, they may have some level of influence, even though within a party like Labour LP, I don't see how these persons, can wield such influence. Within the APC and the PDP, it may be possible, but within the Labour Party, I necessarily don't see that. In the Labour Party, there are 2 major power blocks. The obedient movement and the Abure, and co, So these are just but let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. But it is a normal thing within the Nigerian context to see politicians move the way they are moving, even though the election is going to be held in 2027.
Well, even though the election will be held in 2027, let's see how it goes. One question that comes to my mind sometimes is this not too early for all of this? But
Yeah, I'm really struggling to hear you, Mike.
can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I said, one thing that comes to my mind in all of this is that is it not too early, for all of this? But at this juncture, should it be politics or governance? Remember that after the election, the president had come in and said, okay, let every tension be doused down. That right now it's time to focus on governance. Everyone has said so, but it's still tuning down to be like it's not over yet. Politics is not over yet. Let's put both together. Let's put politics. Let's put governance. And governance it seems to be like it's just about 10 or 20%. Should it be politics or governance at this junction?
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it is our own the reality here in our climate. But if you also look at the U.S. presidential election, you also notice that 2 years into the tenure of President Biden, they started giving attention to politics, knowing that the next 2 years will be an election year, even though governance did not suffer. And that's because they have stronger institutions that are naturally responsible, for running the states. Unlike here, where we thrive so much on the strongman syndrome instead of relying on institutions. So that's just the difference. Otherwise, for a 4-year tenure, it is normal that from 2 years upward, 2 years into the tenure, that is from the third year, you will begin to see what we are seeing now, So it's given that should be expected. So our focus or our advocacy should now be on how to strengthen our institutions so that while politicians give attention to their re-election issues, the institutions, will continue to thrive and, work towards the governance of the states. And that's very, very important. As a matter of fact, here, it is not the duty of the politician to run the government. His duty is just to provide strategic direction. The duty of governance rests on the civil servants, according to our structure. On the civil servants, not even the political appointees. Theirs is just to provide strategic, direction and ensure alignment, to the vision or the manifesto of the political party. But however, the day-to-day running of government rests on the civil service. It's just that they have structured it in such a way that if the political appointee is not there, nothing runs, or there is lull in governance, which is the strange thing, we have. But to answer your question straight, I agree that we should be focusing on governance, and because there are a lot of issues Nigerians are grappling with.
I mean, the
poverty syndrome is still, we're not seeing it go down.
We saw stampedes, about 4 or 3 states, and this is just because of hunger. Nothing more at the cost of all of the stampedes.
Yeah, so these are indicators. The example you just cited are serious, very strong indicators that we have very, very serious chronic poverty challenge in the system. So I think that there is need to devote so much time to addressing these challenges, addressing these needs instead of running up and down, giving attention to things that doesn't matter to Nigerians for now.
All right, thank you very much for that. Well, the conversation still continuing. You can be part of this conversation. Yes, we're talking about the 2027 election plot. We're just 6 days in 2025, and all of these tensions of elections coming in 2027, which is still about 2 years' time. The whole tension is still being doused as if election is next year. But then the conversation, you can be part of it. Join us, 0705 890 4927. 0705 890 4927 or 0805 092 0927. 0805 092 0927. Don't forget, you can send your messages via WhatsApp. You can send your messages via WhatsApp on the 0705 690 0927. Send your messages via WhatsApp on the 0705 690 0927. or call us on the 0705 890 4927. Call us 0705 890 4927 or 0805 092 0927. All right, Mr. Sonny, the questions about, I just said it not just now, that we are 6 days into 2025 and the election is still about 2 years' time. But then it seems to be like this opera seems to be like elections is just by the corner.
Michael, please help me.
You can't hear me?
I'm really straining my ears to hear you. Maybe it's your mic. I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Not so much of a difference.
Can you hear me now?
Actually, I can hear you. When you say if I can hear you, can you hear me now? I can actually hear you, but by the time you go into the narrative, it's difficult to really catch everything that you're saying.
Okay, let's quickly take a short break, and when I return, we'll definitely see if we can hear me clearly. Please stay with us.
Hello, madam. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, madam. Good evening. Am I speaking to Madam Benita?
Yes, you're speaking with Benita.
Madam Benita, this Martin calling you from your bank.
What bank?
Your bank. Don't you know your bank?
I use quite a number of banks, so which one are you calling from?
We are calling you from your bank. We said, okay, the bank sent you one OTP just now. We sent you one OTP. We need you to kindly send us that OTP because there's an error on your account. And the federal government are sending directives that if you don't send us that OTP now, we'll buy your account in 24 hours. So we need to help you collect that OTP to use it to clear the error on your account.
What error is it?
There's an error on your account, madam. I'm calling you from your bank, please. We don't have a lot of time. That OTP is time sensitive. You have to send it back to us now. Or just as I'm on this call now, just call the bank OTP for me so that we can clear that error on your account.
Can you first of all tell me what bank you're calling from?
Madam, it's like you think this is a joke. The federal bank will buy your account too. They will buy your account too. Madam, this thing that we're doing now, we want to do it people. We don't usually used to do this kind of thing, but because we're supposed to help you to make sure that the account, we can clear the error code that the CBN will not buy your account in 24 hours.
What did you say your name was again?
What do you want? My name is Matthew. I'm calling you from your bank.
Matthew. Okay, Matthew, don't worry. I'll go to my bank instead and have a conversation.
Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. They will buy your account.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has time and again cautioned bank customers to never disclose vital information about their personal banking details to anyone whatsoever. Your BVN, NIN, ATM card details, and CVV should be an information known to you and you alone. Your bank would never reach out to you via SMS or call you to request these information. So be careful out there as online banking fraud is on the rise. This message was brought to you by 92.7 Super FM, the one family, one radio station. This is a public service announcement. According to the World Health Organization, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well, work well, and contribute to their community. Everyone is at some risk of developing a mental health disorder, regardless of age, sex, income, and ethnicity. Hygiene can often be the first sign of the start of mental health issues. So creating a routine of daily mindfulness practices can decrease stress levels and improve mood, as good mental hygiene gives us balance, health, and well-being in our day-to-day life. People may experience physical symptoms including restlessness, fatigue, poor concentration, tense muscles, interrupted sleep, amongst many others. To avoid any of these, get regular exercise, eat healthy, and make sleep a priority. Health is wealth. Make this your choice. This message is brought to you by One Family One Radio remember to eat healthy and think the right proportion. This message on food and beverage is from Super FM 92.7, your one family, one radio station.
Information on the go. Join the news team on Spotlight every weekday, Monday through Friday on your number one station, Super 92.7 FM.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
92.7 Super FM.
Alright, welcome back. You're still listening to Spotlight on Super 92.7 FM. In case you're just tuning in, yesterday we're taking a look at the 2027 election plot. Yes, we have just about 2 years down to the election, February 20th, 2027. And we have about 910 days away to the election, going by the timetable of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. But the political firmament is astir, as if the poll will be held next year. And all of these conversations, we're talking about what it is. Is it not too early for all of this brouhaha? At this junction, we've asked also that should it be politics or governance? We're still being joined by the spokesperson, the former spokesperson, Civil Liberty Organization, right there in River State, Mr. Sonny Dada. Mr. Sonny, are you there? Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes. Let's just proceed.
All right. Now, so, we're talking, we're just 6 days in 2025, and the election is coming on in February 2027, about 910 days away. How will 2025 shape 2027? We have opposition now struggling to realign. For their eyes is on Obi, Atiku, Kwakwanso. They've been in the media saying that, oh no, there is no measure. Oh no, there is no, denying so many, allegations, talks about measure. So how do you think 2025 will shape 2027?
As a matter of fact, with the way things are currently, 2025 is a very, very important year for them. Even though I think that it is late, because for a measure that is looking at unseating a current president, that kind of measure should have happened like 2 years ago. So all the alignments we're seeing, all the talks here and there should have happened immediately after the 2023 election. If they're actually serious. That's because after whatever measure you have done, you also have to do a reasonable level of advocacy and campaign so that it can be entrenched, within the structures of the grassroots, so that people can come to grasp that, okay, maybe a Kwankwaso is no longer an NPP person, or maybe a Peter Obi is no longer an LP person. It takes a long time, And that was why, during the build-up to the 2023 election, I knew that the results would pan out the way they eventually came out. But my take was between Tinubu and Atiku, because my thinking, and this is judging from experience, walking around within the electoral, space, I know that you need at least a reasonable level of 8 to 12 years, to have worked very hard before you can, emerge. Fine, the euphoria can be there, but it doesn't necessarily translate to an election victory. We have seen this, over time again. You can take the case study of President Buhari. The several times he tried before he became president.
You remember APC also was as a result of a merger from ACN and the likes.
Sorry?
You remember that APC also was as a result of measure from different parties also.
As a result of measure, but they didn't win the election even after they did the measure. They didn't win. They didn't win the election. They had to. They went through several evolutions from ACN, then they brought in APP, then they brought in CPC. Finally became APC. Then. A faction of PDP led by
was looking more like a trial and error thing.
So what I'm saying is that any measure that should should have happened since. But let's see how it goes. Let's see what can come out 2025. Because even in 2025, they have not really agreed. They have not come out with any concrete terms. They are still issuing press statements here and there. Not even joint press statements. They're issuing individual press statements. I know that Kwankwaso, in principle, gave some conditions wherein he said he could be a running mate to Peter Obi. But the question that begs for answer is, does Peter Obi still have the kind of steam that we saw in 2023, especially considering the challenges that he has faced within the Labour Party and the movement of the Labour Party MPs, to the APC, then the disarray within the obedient movement, you see various obedient movements from across the various states aligning, with different political parties. So what is the guarantee that at the end of the day, they are all going to come together again like we saw in 2023? So these are some of the complicated, very, very complicated nature of the 2027 electoral cycle that we have to grapple with. So all they have is just 2025. That's why 2025 is very, very critical. And if I am to give them a free advice, I will advise them to start as soon as possible because they are already far, far behind time.
Wow. Well, a lovely one there. Don't forget, Nigerians. You can be
sorry, because you know that there is also the PDP leg of it. Because right now it looks like we are just concentrating on the Kwankwaso and the Obi. The PDP leg of it, which I think still not been able to put it together.
I think there are still uncertainty about the article. Coming back.
In fact, that is even a bigger problem compared to the Obis and the Kwankwasos, because Wike is still there. He has already given them a notice that he will still work for Tinubu in 2027, Then you have a candidate, an Atiku, a former candidate that has been very, very silent, that has not really pushed, the way an opposition candidate should push the government, a sitting government, because he's supposed to be a shadow president. PDP is supposed to be a shadow government. But so far we have not seen that, though we see occasional tweets from him, but it's not about Twitter. It's not about Twitter. How many Nigerians are on Twitter? The actual voters are not on Twitter, I bet you.
The actual voters are not on Twitter. But we've seen occasional meetings between the presidential candidate of the PDP and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. I mean, between last year, 2023, and 2024 and now, also even 2023, after the election cycle and now, there have been several meetings, between the two parties. Do you think, or are you expecting any shocker from them?
Whatever I'm expecting is maybe to see an Atiku relinquishing his ambition, giving up his ambition, then lining up behind the Peter Obi, because the truth of the matter is that with the current structure of PDP, an Atiku cannot win any election with the current structure of the PDP.
Why do you say so? He's an elder statesman in the party, No.
Why? Because the indicators, we work with indicators, and the indicators here are very clear. What are the indicators? He is not in charge of the party machinery. The Damagun-led NWC is loyal to the Nyesom Wikes of this world. Atiku does not also control a larger chunk of the NWC members from his region, from the north. Most of them are also loyal to, Wike. So the odds are very, very high for him.
Are you questioning Atiku's influence in the party?
Because we should legitimately question his influence if he cannot rein in his party members, to come together and form a formidable opposition party, And this is not the first time we're questioning his level of influence. We have been doing this, in the last two electoral cycles, because although he was able to win all the party primaries in the last two electoral cycles, but how far? What was the level of mobilization? Apart from the fact that he got block votes, from the north, and apart from the fact that PDP has already entrenched itself as a grassroots party, from within the PDP, what level of support did Atiku enjoy, and how was he able to, mobilize party stakeholders to stand behind him? The 2023 was also a very, very good example, of it was a very good indicator to show that the man's influence, keeps dwindling, in every election cycle. And I think that this time around, it may even be worse because he has not been able to resolve the issues within the party, and he has been silent, though he may be working behind the scene, but we are not feeling the impact. Every day, the party is disintegrating, many issues are coming out, and as a strong man, he is supposed to be the strong man of PDP, because the likes of Jonathan, the likes of Obasanjo have taken a backseat. So the next strong man within that party is supposed to be Atiku, but we have not seen him. He's supposed to be the face of opposition in Nigeria, but we are not seeing him. So it is very, very correct if we legitimately question the level of his influence, within the national polity. Although, from what I know about him, he has this grace, for 9-minute rally, within, the last minutes. Of the
just like it happened. In the last election.
Sorry?
I said just like it happened in the last election.
Yes, just like it happened the last election. You see him rallying people, from across board together and all of that. But it has always not worked. He has been doing it. It has always not worked. So is it not necessary for him to change strategy? Why is he still relying on such strategy? Because from the current realities now, it is like he's still relying on such strategy. You have tried it 2-3 times. It hasn't worked for you. So why still rely on such strategy? Nigerian election does not work like that. And that was what we saw with Peter Obi and the Obedient movement. Though they tried, but they still couldn't get the ticket. You have to build. And that is, so whether you like Tinubu or not, you give it to him that he's a very, very strategic politician. He has invested, he has built structures over the years because he knew that someday he's going to contest for the presidential ticket. And so he built structures, he invested, he raised people,
And then when the time came,
he pushed people to go ahead of him to clear the way. And these are some of the things that Atiku should be doing, which he has not done.
Wow, interesting. I'm just revealing the conversations right here on Spotlight on Super 92.7 FM. You can be part of this conversation also. Message us, send us a WhatsApp message on 0705 690 0927. 0705 690 0927. Or call us 0705 890 4927. 0705 890 4927. You can order numbers on the 0805 092 0927. 0805 092 0927. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Mary. I'm calling from Lagos Island.
All right, please make your comment.
Yeah, I've quietly listened to the speaker. He spoke so well. Great. But I disagree with him because he's discouraging an average Nigerian who trusts in Nigeria. He is talking about people building people, and that is not what Nigeria needs somebody who makes policy that works for everyone. Politics is good, but it's not at the detriment of the citizens. We need people who are strategic, who make policies that affect every individual, not few politicians. When you talk about P2B, P2B won because the citizens voted. The citizens were out there. The citizens put in their all to bring a man they trust into that election. But unfortunately, because of the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria, and because we have players and those who believe that money and corruption can buy them into power, so that is where we are today. So if I see young people or elderly people are within that 50 years talking about taking policies up all the time, talking about who shares what, gives what, good policy, it doesn't give me joy. It discourages me, and it's very, very wrong.
All right, thank you very much.
We should discourage politics in Nigeria and encourage good policies and be like other countries outside Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Mr. Sonny, did you get that?
Yes, I got that. I got that. And she has spoken like a normal or an average Nigerian who is grappling with the realities on ground.
All right,
Unfortunately,
let me hold your thought on
unfor-
that. We still have a caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Can you hear us? Good. All right, please call us 0705 890 4927. 0705 890 4927 or 0805 092 0927. 0805 092 0927. Okay, you were trying to or like say counter or just make your comment on
No,
that.
not counter, not counter. I am not countering her because she made good points.
Okay.
She spoke the mind of an average Nigerian who goes to the market, who knows the prices of goods in the market, who knows that tomato is very expensive, who knows that a bag of rice cannot be, you can't afford a bag of rice with a minimum wage. Who knows that you can't afford a bag of gari with a minimum wage, you know? So, yes, coming from that background, she's right to say that she is discouraged. But unfortunately for her, it is a reality. We're discussing the reality of Nigerian politics. You know, emotions doesn't win politics. Sentiments doesn't win politics. You know, when you come to the Nigerian political context, it is you have to walk. You have to work. So we should ask ourselves, how come we have consistently thrown up candidates that do not represent our interests, you know, within the body politics of the country? And that's because as Nigerians, we have also not consciously built a grassroots movement that, you know, can be able to withstand the test of time. You know, so in the sense that even if politicians come at the end of the day to throw bread at us or wrapper at us, we will reject it and tell them we don't want you.
Or
Because
one
we have looked at
one
your
paint or one
democratic
Congo of rice.
Yes, because we have looked at your democratic credentials. They are not up to the standard we want.
Well, we
you
don't
know.
we don't know when
Yeah, so-
Nigerians will begin
but we
to
haven't
act that
done,
way.
we haven't done that as a country, and that's because that's because of a number of reasons. Poverty is, you know, number one.
Eating deeply.
Number two, the average Nigerian believes that he owes the country no civic responsibility. You know, so these are some of the challenges that we also have to address, you know, and the politicians are aware of this. That is why they have weaponized poverty, you know, knowing that at the end of the day, no matter how the economy is bad, they can still come around and share a few dollars, and we'll line up behind them on election day, write our names on a certain paper and go and vote. And after we vote, we collect the dollars, or we collect the 10,000 naira in cash, you know. So they know this and they have been using it, you know. So I am hoping that, you know, with the challenges we have had so far, with the challenges we have experienced as Nigerians, you know, 2027 will be a very, very important year for us, and we will be wiser when, you know, casting our votes.
And we'll be wiser when casting up. One of the important comments you've made is talking about strategy. Even, I mean, the caller also made mention of this. In talking strategy, we have issues where Peter Obi is also trying to. I mean, he made a very positive strides during the last election. Also, we had issues from the NNPP too, where they actually pulled from Kano State. Now, can Peter Obi, with this talking about strategy, can he create a new political force for 2027? We've seen how, like say, the ruling party are trying to penetrate deeply into, you know, dismantling the Labour Party. We've also seen how he himself, the presidential candidate, is trying to reach out, or maybe there had been some kind of measure with other parties or other presidential persons, talking the likes of Kwakwanso, you know, and Atiku. We've even had talks of Ribadu or Rabiu, the former governor of Kaduna State. With here comment, we've had gossips about also him high the highest seat in the country. So all of this, can Peter Obi create a new political force for 2027?
He's also a very, very strategic politician. In fact, with what he pulled off in 2023, he should be designated as the most dangerous politician within the within the ranks of opposition. Yes, he came third. Atiku came second, but that's because of the party structure. The PDP has been there for a long time, and they have a significant war chest compared to what the Labour Party brought to the table. But I know that 2027 will be a different ball game because there will be fusion of forces, like you mentioned, the Rufai and Co. Who are disgruntled, and all of that. And if you look at events, closing events. Closing political events in 2024, where former, staunch defenders or supporters of the president all of a sudden turned against him and started speaking against him. I'm talking about the Onokpasas of this world, So that's to tell you that there is also a deep-seated animosity within the ruling APC. So definitely we're going to see realignments and fusion of forces, interests and so many other things. But in all of this, we should not forget that election in Nigeria is determined by largely ethnic sentiments, religious sentiments, and sectional sentiments. So whether there is poverty in the land, whether there is hunger and all of that, at the end of the day, we will still recoil ourselves, back to our ethnic identity and regional identity, and even religious identity. So these are the things that determine elections largely. So I'm looking forwd to a Peter Obi, for instance, to posing a very strong fit, more than he did in.
Actually,
I am worried for him.
Do you think he can make up that fit he made in 2023?
That's what I just said. I said with the current indicators on ground, I am really, really worried because I am not seeing that steam. The obedience, like I said, even though they said they are now trying to institutionalize them by ensuring that they are registered across units, because, that was a challenge the Labour Party faced in 20 votes and all of that, So they had that challenge. So maybe learning from that experience, that's why they have decided now to institutionalize the obedience movement. But even that one has a challenge because the obedience are not known to be a party, So the attempt to institutionalize them within the rank or framework of the Labour Party, that may also create a problem for them. So smartly, what they can do is to make them partyless. Yes, register them, but make them partyless people, so that if you're moving to any other political party, it will be very, very easy, to move along with them. But by the time you now build them into the framework of a certain political party, by the time you're moving, it becomes difficult for you to move everybody, together. So to answer your question straight, with the current indicators on ground, I have my doubt or my fears that he may not be able to pull the same stunts he pulled in 2023. But in Nigeria, nothing is certain. 24 hours is too much for politics in Nigeria, for change, for any change, in Nigerian politics. So this is January. Let's see from now till June. From now till June, let's see what will happen.
We're still talking about strategy, like you said. Don't forget that we have one person who, in a way, the Southeast have been looking like, well, they'll be part of the Peter Obi movement, which is Bianca Ojukwu. Now, it shocked the world when we saw her in the ministerial list, and she's currently now a minister in this administration. Do you think that, talking about strategy, the likes of Bianca and the likes of Wike in this present administration, is it a strategy for 2027?
Yes, it is part of the divide and rule strategy that Tinubu has adopted. He learned this from former President Obasanjo, who had to bring in what's this, their party? This Afenifere, what was this?
Afenifere.
The Southwest, the ACN, the ACN. No, then it was AG rather, AG. Bola Ige was one of the, shining stars of AG. And when Obasanjo became president, he brought in Bola Ige, he brought in so many other persons from APP. These were the major opposition political parties. So he brought them, into his government. And over time, that worked for him because these persons turned against their parties. The AD, I remember, protested and instructed that no member of their party should accept that such appointment from
All right,
Obasanjo.
let me hold you a little bit. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Hussein. I'm calling from Surrey.
Okay, Hussein from Sule. Please, can you help us increase the volume so that we can hear you properly? Speak out well.
Okay, well, my comment this morning is on the need for a viral opposition in Nigeria. Every other democracy requires that we have a viral opposition to keep those in government on their toes. However, the way we train opposition in the country, not particularly any political party, all of them together, since we returned to democratic rule in 1999, has been that of a pull-down syndrome. Do you know what I mean? All the opposition parties, when PDP was in government between 1999 till around